Morning and welcome to Gardening 365. The weather today, it's Saturday, is awful, and I can tell you I am not going out there in this.
So what are you going to do about it then?
Well, it's all about preparation, isn't it? And I'm prepared for whatever. Cider update, we're at 10:20 and so far that's produced 13%. Okay, so 13%, remember, fermented out to 0 and it will be 15.75, which is my intended strength. So that's a cider update, 2 weeks old. And I've now moved the cider to demijohns for a couple of reasons. It goes into its finished process better like that, clears better, and also I need the fermentation bucket for something else. If you watched last week's video, Gardening 365, 25, you probably know the reason. You saw my book on the last episode, so I'm not going to go into that too much, but this is an old book, 1974. I've got 4 pounds of Sloes, so I'm going to double everything on there, and it says make as dams and wine on page 14, so I'm going to turn the page over, put the fruit into the fermentation vessel, and bruise it. I've done that already. Take care not to break the stones. I haven't broken any stones as far as I know. Add the pectolas, which is what I'm going to do now, and then 6 pints of cold water. I'll be adding 12, and then stir in the crushed Camden tablets or the sulfite solution. I'm using Camden tablets. Now here's my next project. Now I love curries. I can grow chilies. I can grow onions. I'm hoping that I can now grow garlic. I'm growing ginger. Not sure what those are, but I will try and find out what they are. And I can grow turmeric and cumin. And in the future, I want to make a curry from scratch using just stuff that I've grown. That's my challenge. But in the meantime, I'm going to make a curry. And the curry's all but done. Now I did lie, there was something from the garden in there. I've got 3 big juicy tomatoes in there. And that looks and will taste so much better than the jar stuff you get. So that's chicken tikka masala. Lovely. In fact, it's chicken masala or something, I don't know. And at the same time, now I'm starting to dissolve some sugar in some water to add to the Sloe wine. Completely dissolve all the sugar, and then you can tip that into your wine. Now I'm doing it in 2 batches because obviously I've doubled the quantity. And the moment of truth, how strong is it? It's about 10.95, so if we ferment that completely out, it's going to be at about 12.5%. So nowhere near as strong as the cider. And why won't it be as strong as the cider? Because I'm using mostly water, whereas the cider was using apple juice that was already about 1050 in density. So it's all about density and the sugar that you add into there that gives it its final strength. So this will be about 12.5%, which is strongish, I suppose. We'll see how it goes. And a place we hope to spend a lot of time next year, the patio. We've had a guy come and put that down today for us, and all of the slabs are recycled slabs from this property, so we're really pleased to use up what's already here. And good news from today, I managed to get another barrel for the water feature. I showed you it was the old one was leaking, so we got a new one that cost £30. Okay, so that's pretty much how much they cost, and you can use them for planters, for plants, or like we've used it for a water feature. The pond itself is looking pretty good. The water's fairly clear, but I've got to get some of the old plants cut off, and I might do that this weekend. And the reason why, you don't want the debris from them going into the bottom of the pond, so that it could be a job for the weekend. And like I say, beauty's there if you look for it. one of the dahlias that I bought earlier in the year, and you can see another one over there as well. So we've still got a little bit of colour in the garden, in the flower garden, but not too much now. Some little pansies just about to come out or coming out, so those should be nice soon. And the plants are looking a bit covered in cement dust at the minute from the cutting the slabs. But otherwise Claire's flower garden isn't looking too bad considering the time of the year. Now about 18 hours on, we're going to have a look how the sloe wine is progressing. And you see it's all come up a little bit. So what you need to do at least twice a day now is to give it a really good old stir. And that's that yeast working. That's just 18 hours later. Perfect. Now that thing up there is known as the sun. Very, very occasionally we do see it. And because the sun is trying to come out, I'm back out in the garden. And Claire's rainwater catcher seems to have worked. So we're now collecting rainwater for the greenhouse. Now here's a little money saver if you can hear me in all the wind. I bought some fine gravel to do the job that you're going to see next, and it's unwashed. Cost about £2 for that bag. How much would that have cost if that had been washed? So a little money saver there. On my next job, I'm going to plant some of these paper white daffodils. I'm going to put them in a pot that I bought, brand new pot today, terracotta one. I'm going to put some compost on in a minute. I've got 5 of the bulbs, a little tiny one as well. I'm going to put them in there, cover them up with some of the gravel that I showed you, and then that will be ready for Christmas. This one though, I'm going to use as a present for my sister because it's her birthday on the 2nd of November, and hopefully she'll have something really beautiful for Christmas. So just a little present for her. So a little piece of tile in the bottom to cover the drainage hole. That should be sufficient. And I've put them in just so they're just going to be under the surface, so my sister won't know what they are. I'll just say it's a surprise for you, and she's not going to know that they're daffodils. And that's it, all done, and that's going to make a lovely present. Even ideas for Christmas on Gardening 365. What more do you want? And another little tip for you guys with wood burners. What we do is if we cut any trees down or anything like that, anything that's about as big as your finger, cut it up into little sections, store it for a year or two, and it makes great kindling. And obviously if it's a tree from your garden, it's totally free of charge, apart from your time and effort. And just done the greenhouse Saturday feed, and they are starting to look impressive. Okay, there's a few more, but I can't get them all in at the moment, but they're looking good. And like I've said before, they're to take over from these when these are all finished, which shouldn't be too long now, I've got to be honest. Another couple of weeks and they'll be totally finished. And the greenhouse is looking pretty good. Okay, so plenty there at the moment. So quite a full greenhouse, even at this time of the year, going into November. Still got a very full greenhouse. Still got the fungus that you saw on last week's Gardening 36525. It's just starting to rot off a little bit now. And I'm going back in now to prepare some shallots. I'm hopefully going to make some pickled onions, but 1 or 2 have not stored well. A bit disappointed on the return on the onions. I have managed to get some. And my next little job is making some Sloe vodka. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing. Done the onions, put some salt on them. Just going to leave them for a while now before I put them into the vinegar. The jar's ready for me onions, and I've got 3 or 4 bird's eye chilies in each, and that's to just give them a bit of bite. Bird's eye has got nothing to do with the captain. They are just bird's eye chilies. That's just what they're called, and they are pretty hot. Done, and they look very nice with the chilies in there, and I've used white vinegar as well. Pickled onions. Take a Sloe and punch it with a cocktail stick. Just one little prick into the Sloe, and that will let the vodka or the gin, which you make exactly the same, into the fruit. So you could watch me doing all of these, or I could fast forward to when I finish them all. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Done all the Sloes, and I'm going to put a little bit of sugar on, probably about half the weight that there is Sloe. Some people even put the same weight. I'm going half weight. Put the sugar in. I haven't weighed it, just put it rough in rough. And now I'm going in with a litre of vodka. Don't buy expensive vodka for this. Just any vodka, the cheapest you can get, will work just perfect. So there it is all together. Now don't worry if it doesn't change colour for a while. That'll happen over the next few days, few weeks. So what we're going to do now is give it a really good shake up to dissolve some of that sugar hopefully. And that was a pretty good shake up, and it's going to need to shake up once, twice a day for at least the next week. I'll show you what it looks like next week. Nothing goes to waste, so what am I going to do with the vodka bottle? I'm going to take the labels off, and I'm going to use the bottle for a future cider project. Watch this space. Morning, and don't forget to stir your fruit cap. The Sloe wine is looking good. And don't forget to shake your Sloe. Vodka. The amaryllis. Oh, the hyacinths are definitely grown since last week. Who wants to see me ginger? No, not that sort of ginger. Is my ginger. Woohoo! Bad news, the beautiful hibiscus flower finished. But the good news is we've got another one coming, and that what makes this so special for me. And the plants that I potted up last week are now in their new place. The one is rocking because Spud is rocking it. It's not the wind. And the green plant that I can never remember the name of, that's moved into the corner. But the good news is there's new green on it, so it's looking really good. And the spider plant hasn't made it in the house yet, but I don't know if you can see it, there's glass around the bottom of the balcony, so I think that'll be fairly frost protected for quite some time, so I think we can leave that out quite a bit longer yet. And it's Sunday afternoon, just come outside, and the weather is it's not great, sort of quite dull, and there's rain definitely in the air. And there's the patio, not big, but that's going to be superb in the summer. I've covered this before, the harvest from the garden, but I cannot emphasise the importance of it. We work hard all year, and the reason why, certainly the veg gardeners out there, is to put delicious homegrown food on the table, and never underestimate that. It's fantastic. Okay, so there's the kale that I will try and remember when I planted it, and I've got a little diary of when I planted everything. I'll put a caption up on this little video to say when I planted it. It's been in there almost all season. And those are the leeks, and those are the carrots. Okay, that'll be going on our table very shortly. The kale was planted on the 11th of April. For the flower growers amongst us, that's the output. The beautiful flowers, all of the hard work pays off. And yes, I know it's the end of the season now, but that area has been absolutely beautiful this year and gave us loads of pleasure. And even a couple of the late roses, and there's a dahlia over the far side, still giving us colour even now, putting a smile on our faces, and that's wonderful. And that's the output of our tomato harvest. Not just them, those are just this week's. And again, I'll tell you where I planted those very shortly, when I planted them, sorry. Okay, and you'll see how much commitment I've put into growing those. I bet you it's 7-8 months of those tomatoes since I put the seeds in to now, but that's the output, the reward. The tomatoes was planted on the 8th of March and they were put into the greenhouse on the 4th of May. This is the input, stuff to go on the compost, and the output next year, that'll be wonderful compost to go onto the garden to continue the cycle. And it's all about inputs and outputs. The input here is the bird feed, and the output will be seeing those beautiful birds on the bird table. So it's like a flow chart. So your own work for this week is to draw a flow chart with inputs and outputs. And I'll be marking the results next week, so make sure you do it promptly. Let's go. I may be mad, but I just put 2 French beans in where we've taken 2 tomato plants out. If they grow and I get beans on them, how pleased am I going to be? We will see. Whoa! They're my garlics that I put in about a month ago. And we've never ever been able to grow really good garlic. And I'm really hoping, fingers crossed now, that things are going to change. And this is the garlic that we thought had failed earlier in the year. And most of that now is growing as well. Wow, I am a garlic grower. The weather ain't great, it's just starting to rain a little bit. I'm going to get some logs in for the log burner for tonight, and then very shortly I've got something good to show you all. And some good, well seasoned logs to go in the house, and I'll enjoy the outputs of them tonight as I sit in front of a lovely warm fire after I've had my Sunday dinner. To the top. And that's the setup. The pheasants on the table and the bird cameras set up already. Okay, and like I say, we'll keep you informed what's happening. Now I have been asked, what about the smell? The birds don't mind it at all. Boom boom. Well, that concludes this week's episode of Gardening 365 26. I hope you've enjoyed it. We are carrying on. Monty's finished with Gardener's World, but we are carrying on. And I'm going to see how long I can keep it going into the winter, because I've still got lots of great stuff that I want to show you. Using the stuff out of our garden, preserving some of the stuff, and loads of other great stuff. Please keep watching the videos. You're all members of our Facebook page, so thank you very much for that. Please keep inviting your friends. We'd like the site to grow, get new members, and also the YouTube channel. Just go along to the YouTube channel, have a look at some of the videos. If you like it, subscribe, and if you don't like it, please tell me so I get some feedback. Yeah, I want to know how good or how bad these videos are, so please give me some feedback. So like I say, that's it. Bye for today, and see you next week. Bye. I still like that. My tea tonight. Bye.